Welcome everyone to another episode of Soulfoodwithflex. So honored to have our guest with us today. He's a young man from my hometown, LH 5011. Represent. But if you could introduce yourself, please, Us.
Government name, David Nanai, or David Ediliko Nanai. Yeah, born and bred in the hut. But artist name's Taveets. Mainly like R&B and Afro and soul kind of music. But yeah, 22 years old. But just trying to get out there, put LH on the map even more. And it's about it. It's me.
I love that introduction. Government name. Wait,
Government name.
not the government name. Nale, who are you? Are you talking to some feds right now, brother?
Nah. Hell no.
Oh, what an introduction. I've never heard anyone introduce himself.
Government name.
Sounds like no face, no case.
Nah, that's all my daughter, G.
That's the one, Uzo. That's the one. So, yeah, I mentioned that he's from my hometown, LH. LH stand up. Where in LH did life begin for you, or where did your story begin, Uzo?
When I was born, my parents, it's all been Central Hut really, but when I was born, my parents were living in Central Hut, but weekends I was always in Tada just because of church, St. Michael's. Up until like around when I was like 12 or 11, but pretty much. But my parents are living in Nanai now, so just Central Hut really, not really like one, like not Tada or Nanai or wherever specifically, but just like literally in the center of the hut. Like the bridge across from the mall was really where it's been my whole life, where I've been raised since I was like year 4 until like last year really. All been on Ferguson Street in Melling. So yeah, close to everything. But yeah, that's where I'm from. But Bernard's represent 183. So literally school and like at home was Central Hut the whole of my life, really.
No, that's sick. So, for those who don't know, Brennan is a high school there in Lower Hutt. It's an all-boys school, Catholic school. So shout out to everyone from Brennan's. So what's if we were to go back, what struggles or obstacles or things that you faced growing up?
Struggles, like I wouldn't say I had it like tough, but still seeing my parents live like paycheck to paycheck. My dad especially had to like really sacrifice a lot of his his long hours at work just to feed us. But I'm glad my parents like prioritized the right things first, because I've been kind of lucky, as my parents always made sure that we were fed. But even then, like I clearly remember moments like my mom, my dad looking around the house for like coins, just to buy bread, like stuff like that. So didn't have it too hard, but I did definitely go through like some hard stuff. But I'm grateful that my parents, did put me and my brothers first in terms of like their priorities. Like, didn't go out and, do this and that. Make sure that we were all good and we had our education first and that we were like tended to before they were. So yeah, that was all good. Like, but I'd say like one thing, because I want to say I went to like a white or like a, up there primary, but being like Samoan, definitely a minority group. But seeing also like, for a lot of us, I've definitely seen like, the water tap was lunch for heaps of days. That's one thing I'm pretty sure most of those would like, like there's something we all had in common at least once in our life. Like we didn't have lunch at school, but that was just some of the high cases that I've definitely been through and seen like that might, especially in college, when my parents are like, "Nah, you're old enough now, like tend to yourself more." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, all good." Thought I'd be like gangster and go to school with no lunch and be like, "Oh, gaps." Didn't just go to school, just gave the boys lunches and that. But nah, yeah, definitely been like an eye-opener for me, especially moving out here in town. Everything's like different as like people, especially no, actually, like one thing I have seen is like my niece and my nephew see now, like they get to have luxuries that we didn't, just because my parents had a better place right now. Like they could go take the school snacks and get out the cupboard, whereas if we did it, we would remain hiding because we weren't like that stable back then. But yeah, that's definitely something I've probably seen.
No, I love that. Also, just from the sound of your voice, I can tell your gratitude for your parents and the sacrifices that they made for you to be fed and cared for growing up, which I love,
Yeah,
man.
hard.
100%
Yeah,
for that and our parents and all the things that they do to run the household, man. It's eye opening.
hard, bro, definitely. Especially like for a lot of while, we were like, I don't know if we were regarded as first or second generation like New Zealand Samoans, but for me, like my parents were straight from Sa, like left everything there, and you see like the sacrifice. Like I'm a new dad, and I'm finding it hard, but I'm just like frick. Like imagine what my mum and dad went through. They came to New Zealand with like nothing, and here I am having a look about like stuff that would have been like good for them. But I'm just like, oh, but yeah, it's definitely something I've seen lately. But yeah,
Yeah. So you're now in a place of creating music. Was that something that was a part of your childhood? Was that heavy in your childhood, or how did that
yeah,
begin?
yeah. Definitely like I'm pretty sure every Samoan either came across music or like at church or just family. But yeah, my uncles and my aunties all like either sing or one's good at piano, one's good at guitar, one they can do this and that. But yeah, like music was huge um, in my life, especially knowing that my uncle was a drummer for like the oldies bands, like Golden Elites. So like we huge musical influence in my family, like, and I kind of noticed that like maybe around like year 9, definitely like year 9 or year 10, like when I noticed that this stuff was coming easy to me, like how to play guitar, or, like just simple stuff like that, even like chords on the piano, like yeah, and then my I didn't I wasn't really into singing as much, just because like I can't actually like sing, but like I can hold a tune. Like then that's just from like just like being at church and singing in choirs and everything. But definitely having that musical influence in my family is like helped me heaps. Like I know what to do and what not to do, and like knowing that like most of my family can listen to my stuff and be like, oh, this good stuff is like kind of uplifting, I guess, and that helps me carry on that musical like legacy of my family and hope to pass that on to like my daughter or my nephews and nieces and that.
That's awesome, man. First of all, shout out to the Wellington Police Department for ruining the podcast in the background. Charlie, get on with the podcast.
Can you really?
No, it was pretty heavy in the background as you were talking. I was like trying to focus in, but no, I love that. Your roots of music starts from church, because that's where it starts for a lot of us Polynesians. It starts from church
Yeah,
bands, church choir. No, not that I'm musically inclined, but anyways,
nah.
Nah, I love that.
True, nah, that's a good.
So
Yeah.
with your uncle being, because that's a Gordon Lee's, that's a well-known, Samoan band. Um,
Uh,
did he ever give you any advice or tips growing up, or?
like I never grew up with him. G. I never spoke to him or anything because he lived in America. So he lived in America his whole life, and recently, like literally recently, just passed away. But I just knew that even like my uncles and my aunties, they gave me heaps of tips on like just heaps of musical stuff. And like I knew what sounds off and like what will work and like what will work and what won't work and stuff like that. But yeah, like I could definitely hear like what's off and what isn't. Thanks to them, like just growing up around that heavy like music influence.
Well, my condolences to your uncle Uzo and your family.
No, yeah, sure it is.
So what was your experience like growing up in church? Were you? Because I know for myself, growing up in church, man, I was definitely not paying attention. I was most likely the kid that slept in the back.
Nah, that's a good. Well, uh, like definitely up until like probably like when I was like 13 or 12, I was just going to church just cause it was just every Sunday. That was just like breathing to us, like it's just what you do. But my family was always at choirs and stuff, and so obviously I was just gonna be in the choir anyways. Not that I had a choice. But like yeah, like in the church it was like yeah, because I went to I'm Catholic, so it's pretty like lax in my opinion. But yeah, it was just church. I didn't really wasn't like heavily involved in the church really. I was just like an altar server here and there, and then mainly yeah, I was just mainly like for singing. I found like just because my family like because we used to go to church in St. Michael's, but I know that my family was so big in the choir. When we left and went to the church in the hut, we went with like 3/4 of the choir. So like they had like pretty much nothing, but yeah, it's mainly choir singing and the altar serving really was my role in the church. But I didn't really pay attention to be honest. Like
Yeah,
I was just there just because and then like the like young like this like all the way down so my parents aren't looking, but like as I grew older I like actually like fully serious people who like probably watch this think I'm talking smack, but when I was like probably like until like year 9 onwards I actually did try to like listen to church and fully immerse myself in it because when I was like, oh, guess I'm telling these guys that I'm going to church, but I'm not even really going to church. And like, I see everyone, got like Los Leos in like their car, the the rear view mirror, and it's like, you know, it's someone asked me and be like, oh, what's that for? And I'll be like, oh, we just like pray. Like I don't know, but I wanted like, have purpose behind what I was doing, and I found that like when I was oh, well, I can definitely say I was actually trying. So I know I was trying, but it wouldn't be 100% all the time. But I was trying because it got to a point where my parents would just. I was going because I wanted to go, not because my parents were telling me, which is how I knew I was definitely at least doing something. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me in church. Yeah.
yeah. No, because I personally feel like or see and observe that us as Polynesians we do grow up in that life where church is forced upon us, but then
Yeah.
eventually there comes a time when we as individuals take a step where we seek to have faith for our own reasons. So with yourself. growing up in the Catholic life, and then obviously transitioning to a Catholic school, which from what I've heard, you practice a lot of Catholic things there. What was that
Mm.
experience like? Is that where you started to learn or take those steps of faith for yourself?
Yeah, because uh like at a Catholic school, RE is compulsory, so religious studies is compulsory, like all the way up to year 13. And I found that the stuff that like I was just second nature to me. Like I wasn't really like learning anything new, and I knew like I actually know like some of this stuff, but it gave me an like more understanding of what I was actually like doing at church and the reason why I was doing this, or like I was learning, and it was good to learn like some other in-depth stuff as well, like the history behind the church and like what certain things mean, like even little stuff like what the priest wears, like why he wears that and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, definitely. Like I know it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but like I found that it was helpful, and I actually liked diary just because it was like, and it was like more chill too. Like went into maths, it was like dumb. Like English was the same, but like RE, it's not something I looked forward to, but I actually didn't mind it at times, and yeah, it really did help me like learn new stuff about my religion.
That's awesome. Definitely. When you understand what you're doing, then it has more purpose and drive for you to do it. Because I definitely grew up the same way. I was doing all these things at church, but I have um, no understanding of why I'm doing these things, like praying, like even like simple term of praying. Like we did it a lot at church, but I had no understanding of why I was doing it, who this person I was talking to when I was praying, those sort of things.
Yo, hard, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it was my experience when I was at school. St. Bernard's was heavy Polynesian influence. For was that the case when you were going through school? Was there a lot of Polynesian boys at your school at the time?
Yeah, so like when I was when I was coming into intermediate, because my primary went to year 6, going from my primary to Brennan's was like I felt like home. Like there's only way I could explain it, because like St. Peter's and Paul's was like not a white school, but definitely like Polynesians were a minority, like huge minority at St. Peter's and Paul's in comparison to Brennan's. Like where I went to Brennan's, so it was like main, like I seen like brown skin everywhere. Not that I don't like seeing white skin, but it's like like just felt like I just felt way more comfortable at Brennan's. When I was an intermediate, there were heaps of there were more there was heaps of Polynesians when I was an intermediate, but as I was like going up the year groups, it started to like fade out a bit, but I don't know why. But especially in my year level, there was like not really that many, but the year group above and the year group below had heaps. But I'm pretty sure there's like heaps coming back now. I don't know what happened, but yeah, all the Polynesians in my year level were like either dropped out, or yeah, mainly like dropped out, or like went and got jobs, or like switched schools, doesn't know, or like moved away different countries.
Yeah,
But yeah, still a big poly school. I'm pretty sure now at the moment. Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. So, what was your pursuit when you were in high school? Was there anything that you gravitated to, or any subjects that really stood out to you? Like, was music was music a big thing in school for you?
Oh, and surprisingly, not I was in I think I did music up to like year 11. Oh, no, not even year 11. I did music up to like year 10. and then dropped it. But I was mainly I wanted to be a terrorist coming out of school. But yeah, because I just like Jorige. But yeah, art was my favorite subject. I wanted to be a terrorist, and I knew that when I was like year 7. I just got real fascinated in it. Looked up to guys like Andy. He does tattooing out in Wellington, Tapo Tatau. He did my sleeve, but I just fell in love with it. He was mainly art. Music was like just at lunchtimes pretty much, or like when the boys were just like chilling out. I never really didn't think I'd get into music like how I did now, but because I wanted to be a tattooist, but my parents wanted me to go uni, so I was like, oh, like don't really need uni to be a tattooist, but then they really pushed for me to go uni. I was like, oh, so we found middle ground, and then I was studying bachelor of design at Messi. That was only for like probably like a month and a bit, and then I dropped out. And then yeah, yeah, I wouldn't say I never did music in college, but definitely not to this scale. It was mainly art.
That's crazy, man. That's always I
Yeah,
always find it fascinating. Like with like the likes of Chris Brown, like he's big on on his musicianship, but his artistry as well. Like he's a big artist
yeah.
into that sort of thing. So what sort of art were you gravitating to?
Oh, it was like yeah, like Polynesian art, like Samoan art, with like patterns and like motifs in it. Like that was where I was headed, or that's where I wanted to be headed. Definitely not like making music.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's cool, man. So, man, that's something that I want to get into is learning the history and what every pattern means. Because I feel like
yeah, hard,
not to just get the sleeve, eh?
hard. Yeah, I wanted to learn about that too, and I don't want to. And I knew I wanted like not just art history, but like our history, like in our culture, before I got anything tatted. Didn't want to be like, oh, what does this mean? And like if someone came up and asked me, and I'd be like, oh. But yeah, I wanted to make sure there was like something behind it. At least like I knew where the patterns were coming from. At least,
No,
yeah,
that's what I admire about like true artistry is like learning the history and the stories behind the patterns that you're putting on these people, man.
not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened? So was that pursuit of being a tattooist still a thing? Is it a side gig? Where does that?
I haven't really thought about it. Really, like I haven't really thought about it ever since I dropped out of uni. Because I dropped out of uni, I was like, bro, bro. I was in uni, bro. Probably only showed up to like 2 weeks worth of like lectures, and I was just chilling in the library. I was telling my mom and my dad I was doing uni, but I was just chilling out there playing Fortnite in the library. um, and then I was like, and then like the day before it got added onto my fees, um, I went and talked to my dad, and I was like, yeah, I want to drop out of here. He was like disappointed handies, and he was like, oh, what about what you wanted to do, whatever. And I was like, nah, like, because you don't even need like you know, a degree or a bachelor or whatever to be a terrorist. That can just be something that you do from home. But I haven't really dived into it ever since I've dropped out because that uni just left a real bad taste in my mouth. But yeah,
Well, something that like I've definitely been pondering on and seeing for myself is that every learner just needs the right teacher. And so what was it about uni or or your experience there that you struggled with?
But just like sitting in the, oh no, it was like sitting in the classroom. Really, I was just falling asleep, even when I was getting like, when I wasn't up all night on my phone or something. I was actually getting like a good night's rest and chilling out. Like I just wouldn't be able to focus. Like at school, or that's just for me too. Like at school, at least you're like switching, subjects. Like you do this, do maths, and you go do English. So I guess you're kind of keeping awake doing different stuff, but can't. For me, I can't sit down and listen to someone talk for like however long. Lectures lasted like 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever. I just couldn't do it. For me,
Yeah,
I know like it was more hands-on, and that's why I liked art class, like the actual class, not like lectures and stuff like that. Because you got to do your own stuff, and it was your paintings or your drawings, not someone else telling you to draw something. That's what I found.
yeah. I was just about to follow up with that question. Like, if would you find, do you find yourself more as a, a practical person where you have to, you know, um, you know, it's not theory, eh? It's just actually doing the actual thing.
Way more of a practical learner. Like I can't sit down and listen to someone talk for like hours, and just like I don't know how other people do it. Like stay focused for that long. Writing, taking notes for like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, it's more practical learning for me.
Yeah, it's like I said, bro. Everyone's a different learner, man. Like
Yeah, how,
I would say I'm the same as you. Just like I could just kind of sit there and listen to someone talk about the subject for hours. I can literally just, yeah, I'd rather just do it, eh? That's
yeah, how,
that's the way
same.
I learn. So after school, where did that transition you to?
Um, so out of high school, or like high school or uni.
Oh, out of uni.
Yeah, out of uni, I dropped out, and then I just got a job like civil construction, and then ever since then, like I've been doing my apprenticeship for drain laying ever since, and I set my exam in like a month, under a month, and then after that, my apprenticeship's finished. But yeah, it's just been drain laying ever since after uni.
Oh, that's exciting, man. All the best for your exam.
Charters.
That's something that we sort of, well, at least our parents don't see the value in getting a trade A.
Yeah.
I feel like
Uh,
we're so fixated on this degree or a bachelor, and no disrespect to those who are pursuing that field, going to school, but gaining a trade, is just as good. The money is good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like I think, but like for our parents, since they, in SAR or like back in the islands, they look in New Zealand and it's like, oh, you don't have to break your back, working at a plantation. You can just work at an office. So I guess like that's all they've known as like, go to New Zealand or Australia or whatever, and if you crack it there, just go into uni. And it's just like nah, like I, I don't think it would all. Obviously, for me, didn't work out their way, and I think I was lucky that my parents were like understanding at least. Like they were disappointed that I didn't go through with it, but I think they were just at ease that I had a backup plan, and I was like, look, like if I do like 2 years of an apprenticeship, I could be on like the same, if not a better rate, as someone who studied for like 3 or 4 years, but at the same time making money. And now that there's a thing in New Zealand that just got introduced recently. Like all training is free at the moment for like the next 2 years. So like, but yeah, they didn't. Our parents and they didn't know any better because they came. They had it like even more tough than we did, and they're just like, oh, if we go to New Zealand, they will, go uni or work an office job, and it won't be hard. But I don't think. Oh, it's not to say that our people can't do it. It's just like I don't think a lot of our people would like since we come from a line of people who work outside. So I think it's just be second nature to just work outside. But I don't know, each their own, I guess.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, man. A lot of our people do gravitate to like construction and that field. But like
Yeah, hard.
I'm all for our people not just taking those positions, but to seek to take over the business or build a business around those trades, because I definitely believe that our people are our people are we have the potential and endless potential to do anything that we want to do. To be honest.
Hard, bro. Definitely like something like I don't know hasn't been brought up. Like Samoa is puny, small, but the influence that we have in the world, like wrestling, like I'm a huge wrestling fan. Look at all the wrestlers that have come through, and then The Rock, who's like the highest grossing actor in Hollywood at the moment, or a couple of years back or whatever. But The Rock's up there. Say The Rock's name, everyone will know. Like American football, how many Samoans are in there, rugby, all over the world. Like for a country that's as small as Samoa or that I've seen as like to have a huge influence around the world. It's like our people can do it easy. I reckon if we had the no, if we had the like proper exposure and resources, our people could do anything. Really, I believe.
100% agree with you, and not only Samoa, but all the islands of the Polynesian, man. It's crazy to see what our islands produce, man. Like the
Yeah,
talent, and it's not even like fields that are seen. There could be our people are scientists, our people are in corporate fields taking over. We don't see it, but that's why I want to build this platform up to project and showcase that.
actually, definitely, you're doing the job. Been seeing it come up, good job. So
Uh,
it's
yeah, I'm happy to have you on because you know you're the first music artist that I got on so far, and so I wanted to talk about this journey that you're going on because you know I'm a big supporter of our people doing things, man, like any field, and so for you to put it out there that you're pursuing this music on your page, I'm 100% behind it. Oosh.
real hard stuff for that, G. Yeah, definitely, bro. Especially something like music, which is like, oh, I don't want to be that guy, but like, I'm pretty sure it's second nature to like, like Polynesians. That comes easy. I'm surprised that, this whole poly wave didn't take off ages ago. Like, and for, like Polynesians who are mainly singers, I don't know why there's not heaps of singers in comparison to like, rappers. Not that like rapping is bad, but like, like I'm pretty sure like JMs can sing like from 1-4. Like we have heaps of musical talent, and I think it's not even like scratched the surface yet, to be honest.
No, I love that you sit there, man. Oh, totally agree with you. Like you literally can show up to a random Polynesian church and you'll see talent like 100%,
Oh,
no doubt.
definitely.
So yeah, like you mentioned one for like so you're watching these Polynesians you literally watching and get a first-hand seat to the come up. Does that give you motivation? What is that? What does that scene give to you?
So like the whole polywave that started, I don't know, like, oh, I started making music like back in like before or like kicked off, but I reckon like it definitely helps a lot, like in terms of getting exposure, because like heaps of like other artists are just going off right now thanks to the exposure that this whole wave has like given. And I know like for me at least, I know I made heaps of connections like just because of this whole music. So just like a quick backstory with pretty much like my manager slash mentor, HP Finesse. So he's part of like the HP boys. He networked me with like all of these like producers and engineers. So shout out to everyone in Beat Family and like Beat Elite and like the boys like AAC and LED and like literally like the whole, I reckon like there's gonna be heaps of music coming out from like all Polynesians everywhere thanks to that wave. Like, and for people like us, like we just naturally glued to each other. Like, I don't know what it was like, even in like, I don't even know if I'm going off topic, but like I noticed in a classroom, if you have like two, like say there's like 30 people in a classroom and you only have two Polynesians in there, I guarantee you by the end of that week, those two Polynesians will be friends just because we like just naturally like glued to each other. It doesn't matter if you're Tongan or whatever. We see a brown skin and then we'll just glue to them like they're our brother. I think it's just our people, but in terms of the music scene, that's really helped everyone like come together and like start to make collab and make music together. And I think it just makes the quality of music even more higher because we're getting in like different producers and like big producers too, and like that means engineers will come in, which means like the quality of music will be mean and everyone will just be helping each other out really. But that whole definitely the whole polywave has made music made artists more like it's helped us get a lot more exposure. Because like for me, a huge milestone that I just reached was I got to play in New FM like I think it was like a month ago now or a while ago now. But I could probably guarantee you if the polywave hadn't gone off, I wouldn't have gotten that play. Just little stuff like that really. So I've noticed.
Yeah, first of all, congrats on getting that play on UFM, man. Shout out to UFM
No,
for
Shachi.
playing the Usos music, man. I'm just like, I honestly marvel and seeing our people, being on the big screen, man. Like they mentioned it in their lyrics, but like, I don't think they understand how like important this time is for our people on the rise, because it's giving so many people opportunities now. Like you said, if it hadn't kicked off, then you wouldn't have had that play. It's just like a big ripple effect there on people and getting exposure and having their voices heard, man. I'm here for it, man.
Even like stuff like this, like your podcast, I reckon it's had a huge effect on that. Like, if I don't know if it would have, but like, I just know the exposure around the whole polywave just helps. Not even just Polynesia, like just music in general coming out of Australia and New Zealand helped heaps.
100%. Like I'll tell you with that, like just seeing people on the come up and then like making it gives me confidence to do what I'm doing right now, because I'm not a confident person. I'm really hard on myself, and so to see myself build this platform up, it's really out of my element. But it's because of polys like yourself who are really striving for it. I wanna do my part in doing stuff for myself as well.
Hard. That's me. Yeah, G.
But shout out to the also from HP, man, because the biggest thing is like it's human nature for us to have that feeling like, nah, I'm gonna get mine. But it takes a different breed to be like, nah, I'm gonna get mine, but I want my ushos and I want my
Hard.
tokos, I want my tanganis to come up with me too, you know?
It's hard. Yeah, definitely. Love. Right, especially Finesse, like he's helped heaps, like for all of us to come up, make sure that we're doing our bit in the music industry, and always checking up on us. Like he checks up on me regularly, like, and I'm just like I'll be like, oh, like why is he helping me, stuff like that. But to what you said, it's different for someone else to want someone else to get their bread, kind of stuff.
Look, it's been said so many times, but if we were to have that, if every single person, every Polynesian was to have that mentality, definitely strive for yours, definitely chase the bag for you and your family. But if you get the bag and you know how to get it, share it with your brothers and sisters, man, because that mentality is rare. But if we were to have it, honestly, the success that we're seeing now, like you said, it hasn't even scratched the surface, eh?
Yeah, hard, I reckon. But like, I like another thing is what I've noticed is like, bro, we got so much talent, like, but at the end of like a lot of the time, man, our own people are like our biggest haters. Like,
Hey, it's
that's
the
just what
facts,
I've
eh?
noticed.
It's the facts,
Yeah,
bro.
like
It's the sad
I don't
fact.
know. Yeah, that's it's legit sad. Like we'll happily celebrate, someone else getting a dub or someone else doing good, but you see like someone like, and it happened for me too. I dropped my first song, I got mocked there, and like I won't even like deny that. Not even, but not everyone, but I always had my day ones, but no one took me seriously, and everyone was like, "Oh, this fear rapper guy," and all of this stuff, and I was just like, I shook that off, kept making music, and then like now that the stuff's coming up, and it's like, you know, now they want to celebrate, now they want to support, and it's like, no. And a lot of it was our people, like you said, it's sad facts. Like I see so many comments like on like other people's stuff, like I'll see like musical talent like drop a music video and we'll just get mad hate for it, and then I'm like, bro, like these are our kind, like we will go listen to like African American music, and we'll love that, but people like our own people are making our own music and we can't support that. Like, I get if it's not your bread and butter, don't like don't take time out of your day to go put someone else down.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
100%
Yeah.
hear you, bro. That's the like funniest thing. Like, so I know for myself, um, my father he had a tape of John Olum. He would play this tape like all the time, and that he was one of like the inspirations for me to like really get into playing footy. So imagine if someone was to like come up to me at my game and be like, "Oh, why are you playing footy? You just trying to be like John Olum." You know what I mean? It just sounds so silly,
Just,
bro.
yeah, it's dumb
Sounds
as like,
so silly, bro.
yeah,
Like when I hear people like, "Oh, look at these guys trying to be like 1-4." Like, what are they supposed to do? Sit back and do
yeah,
nothing? If they have a message
yeah,
or a music thing to do, then do it, man.
yeah. Well, like, and like, what I've noticed is like a lot of these new groups coming up making music, and everyone's like, oh, 1-4 wannabes, or like HP wannabes, or even New Zealand people, they make music and it's like, oh, these guys are trying to sound Aussie. Like, for me, I'm just like, what? Like, for a lot of these people, music is a second chance for them, like, to, make it out the hood or make it out of their struggle. But obviously, someone behind the keyboard won't think like that. And it's like, but yeah, for me, it's just like, bro, if you're not, if you're gonna hate on someone, just keep it to yourself. Like, someone else is out there trying to do their thing, kind of stuff. Don't go like, because they're trying their best to chase their dreams. So, bro, there's no need for it, really.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the sad reality of life. No matter, like, I tell my boys all the time, like I'll be watching like the most positive video. Like, there's nothing you can take from that video that you can spin, and then you read the comments, and it's just like, how do you even get that thought?
Gee. Yeah, definitely. It happens all the time.
Yeah, bro. But so,
Honestly.
how do you? So you said you got mocked when you were making your first drop. How did you overcome that? Where did your mindset to overcome that come from?
Like for me, it was just more like, oh, like I'm gonna prove these guys wrong. Like, but like I listened to my old stuff now, and I was like, oh, I deserve to be mocked. That was like trash, like compared to my stuff now. But back then, when I was listening to it, I was like, yo, there's me. But when I was getting mocked, of course, like it would, like it was like discourage me to make music. But I was like, at the end of the day, these guys are mocking me, but those were the same guys, like, working class, being like a nuisance, and like, nothing positive going for them. So I was like, why should I care what they say when they don't even, take the, they're mocking me and they're not taking my music seriously. Why should I take them seriously? Because they don't even take themselves seriously. That's how I looked at it. I was like, bro, these guys are like actual real life flops. Why should I care what they're saying? And I just did my own stuff, bro, and stuck to it, and it's kind of paid off, I guess.
No, I love the mindset, man. But more important than proving people wrong is proving yourself right. That
Hard,
you can do this, bro. Because that's the
easy.
biggest thing is like having that self belief first. Like I know with myself with this podcast, bro. Like I was like, oh man, people gonna come out the woodworks and be, tell her this guy. But
Hard.
it's having that self belief in yourself, that you can do something. That's more important
Yeah,
than validation from anyone, brother.
yeah. I was like, like it when I dropped it. There was a way more support than there was like people mocking me. Like that's just always been facts. But like when I stepped away, I was like, oh. When I was recording that song, I fully believed like I was top shit. Like I thought, yo, this is mean. And then I was like, bro, why am I letting like these comments get to me when I knew when I was recording, I believed that it was good. Like, and then I guess it helped me get over it, especially as an artist. I was like thinking as well, I was like, bro, if this is the hate that I'm getting, imagine the hate that, huge artists get. Couldn't even imagine it. I thought, bro, this is just stuff that you're going to have to get over. Because it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Because no matter what you do, you're not going to make it, like, not even just music, but that's in life too. Like, no matter what you do, you're not going to make everyone happy. But as long as you know what you want to, you know what you want to do, you just got to go out and do it. And, like, you still got day one supporters next to you. And, like, their opinion is the ones that should matter, not the haters. Like, obviously, your own opinion, but even like some of my friends and my boys, when I send them like stuff that I'm working on, they'll be honest with me, but tell me, like, yo, like this is off, or like this verse is weak compared to the rest of the song. Like I'd rather have that than like just a bunch of yes men around me telling me, yo, that sounds mean. I said, nah, like, but in terms of like anything, like just just like especially if you're gonna release stuff on the net, they're like it's gonna be open to everyone. It's not really if you can't handle like not just criticism, but like unnecessary remarks that don't really matter. Like if you can't handle that, then it shouldn't really be something that you should get into, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, it's definitely not for the faint-hearted, brother. 'Cause you know the
Uh,
anyone knows the internet wins every time, man, with their savage remarks.
yeah, uh,
But that's a couple of points that I gained from that what you just said. Like definitely when you come to the realization that you can't make everyone happy, then you start moving. Then you really start
yeah,
making moves, eh? And also that's so important that you have those people who are not yes men, like you said, because when your music really takes off, then those are the same people that will give you the the right guidance that you need to keep moving and to keep you know for better and better things, eh?
yeah. I'm grateful. Like I'd much rather have someone tell me like, "Yo, their verse was no whack," like than someone saying like, "Oh, yo, that sounds mean." But like, there's like a fine line between like criticism and hate. Like, if I can send like a verse off to the boys and them tell me like, "Oh, this bar is off," or like your timing is a bit off, or stuff like that, they can tell me straight up. In comparison to like, "Stop doing this," like, "Why do you even bother?" kind of stuff. Like that's totally different, and that's where I draw the line of like. But yeah, definitely if you're like, why should you care what people? Because there's still going to be people who do that, like regardless, like in anything, like in rugby, someone's going to be like, "Oh, Julian Savage is shit." And that's like, he's obviously not if he's in the Hurricanes. Like,
Very. The
like that.
criticism never ends, brother. Those remarks will
Yeah,
never end, brother. It's a sad life. We can sit here and like wish for the fantasy world, but
nah,
it is what it is, eh?
hard,
So,
like 100.
for those who are listening in, Taveets or David Nanai makes his music from the room that he's doing the podcast from. Talk about that, Uzo. What's that experience like?
Oh, like bro, it's like I was blessed that I'm not self-taught, but I, oh yeah, I was self-taught. Like, but I was blessed that I didn't have to go and spend money on a recording studio to get stuff done. Like I had a free mic from Fernando. Shout out to Fernando. Like, when I was living with my brother, he had a mean computer. He had all he had the program set up. He had studio grade monitors. He had just like a music interface. So I was blessed that I had that opportunity. And I know it's not easy for everyone to just go out and get that, but either way, like it's not like it was handed to me, like, oh well, the mic was, but I knew that my brother still had to work to get the stuff that he got. It wasn't just like handed to us, but even then, like the stuff in it, like especially like when I listen back to some of my old stuff, since I'm self-taught, like I'm still learning along the way, like learning new stuff every day, like, this frequency can be boosted, or I could, tweak the reverb a bit to sound better. But recording music in the room, I found, well, especially with the technology available, like nowadays, obviously I know it wasn't easy back then. Like you can make studio grade music out of your bedroom. It's just, yeah, and it's like, well, even then, like, but I put my computer like up there on my daughter's like cupboard. So it's like yeah, it's good, but it's still like core ass in a way. But you make stuff work and you find what works and what doesn't.
I don't know if you saw a video that I had posted from me and Justin Norm's podcast, but he spoke heavy on working with what you got at the time because uh, and not allowing those things to be, obstacle or hindrance to, you putting out content, or you creating, a platform, or you striving for your dreams, pretty much. And that's exactly what you were talking about, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, hard. Like, um, and I think that's just been a part of how we've grown up, anyways. Like, make use of what you got. Might not be the best, but go hard. And then that's what I've learned. Like, and yeah, it's been, I know it's a huge blessing because people DM me and like ask to link up. It's like, oh, yo, you got your own stuff, and I was like, yeah, hard. It's just, and it's way easier too because I can like, make music on my terms, in comparison to like having to book in and then having to work around someone else's schedule where it's like just there whenever I want to do it, which is gangster.
Yeah, I love that. As soon as you get the vibe, I would just assume that as soon as you get a vibe, or you're listening to something and you feel inspired, then you just go straight into it.
Hard, like writing music, because just in terms of like work and my life schedule at the moment, like if I get stuff in my head, I'll just write it down. And then the only really free time I have to record is like in the weekends. So that's me pretty much.
So you mentioned you have a daughter. What is that like? What is life like now? Taking on this big responsibility as a parent, and like you said, you spoke about your gratitude for your parents and what they done to feed you and to care for you. How was that experience?
Like, still learning it. Like I reckon I'm like a mother is dad. No, not like mud, but I'm kind of like, I know my partner like carries us hard. Like her sacrifice day in and day out to like care for her while I'm at work. But still learning it. Like but yeah, like sometimes I'll just be laying in bed with my daughter and I'll just look at her and I'll be like, oh, bro, I can't believe like that made this. Like but I like it comes off as challenges too. Like I found for me at least like there's like trying to think of a way that I can say it on camera. Like I know there's like everyone isn't raised the same, so my understanding of what parenting is can be different from like my partner's way of parenting, which is what I'm still trying to like get used to. But it's so far it's been a huge blessing. You couldn't have asked for anything else there. Straight up, I like could have like the worst day at work, or just not just work, but like just be feeling down, and then I leave it all at the door and then come in and my daughter smiles, and I just forget anything's wrong with me. But it's pretty much what it's like being a dad. Oh, so far, been pretty crazy, I guess.
No, I love that. Also, thank you for sharing that.
Yes, yeah,
Don't feel
absolutely.
like you're a mud father, man. Like, I didn't even know you, but I can tell that your heart is there, and that's the biggest thing. Your heart is there, and that's with anything. If your heart is in a place, then you're going to dedicate, your time and efforts to putting something into it, which I have no doubt you are.
Yeah, actually, like it's not that I think I'm mad. It's, like even though I said it, it's just like more, just like, well, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that like parenting is not easy, but I'm still trying to, adjust to certain stuff. And well, I know I'll give my best shot every day, which is what I'm happy like with. Like here and there, I might make mistakes here and there. I know for a fact I'm, doing my best. So as long as she's fed and my partner's fed, that's all I'm worried about really. And I think that's one thing my parents passed on is like, like others before yourself. That's what, and this is what I'm trying to implement. It's like, as long as my partners are good, and as long as my daughters are good, that's what I'm worried about here.
And that's all that matters, brother. You know, what happens in the four walls of your home is your business and no one else's, eh?
Yeah, Haji, definitely.
So with this, so those, again, for those listening in, definitely check out Taveets' page. I was listening to her songs before, and I was getting into the Afrobeats, man. I love Afrobeats. Eh?
Yo, yeah, I've recently I want to say just tapped into because even the first project that I dropped had dancehall, which is not the same as Afro,
Yeah,
but similar in terms of island kind of stuff and I reckon, yeah, a lot of the same influences though, but yeah, getting into that.
our people have always been on their African
Yeah,
Afrobeats and
hard.
dancehall, bro. Like if you go to the Sivas back in the days, that's what they were playing.
Gee. I mean, not that I was ever at there, but being at, Siva's I'd always be playing outside, with my friends, and you'd always hear their stuff at the Siva's anyway. So I don't know if that's just come back or yeah.
Oh, it's definitely made a comeback because that's all I ever heard when I was at the Sivas and stuff like that. Eh?
Yeah,
It's good,
hard.
dude. I love your music. Like I genuinely love your music, Musho. Like
Yeah,
I
shit,
was
it
listening
means a
to it,
lot.
and I was listening to your YouTube channel. I was like,
Yeah,
bro, this guy's onto something because that's where Drake is. He's the pinnacle, I reckon, for music. Hey, would you
yeah,
say
yeah,
Drake is
definitely.
Drake is the
He's
yeah,
yeah,
he's the pinnacle for music. Rap singing, he's the pinnacle. So when I heard your stuff, it made me like it brought me to Drake stuff. But yeah, it's definitely your own spin, which I love, man.
nah, yeah, shot. Drake is my favorite artist, by far. Huge, the Drake and the whole OVA crew, Drake, Party Next Door. Those two are the main two really that I listen to, and I know for a fact probably the huge albums for me was P3 Views. I know word for word hard. Yeah, just keeps a Drake, Party, Roy Woods. But yeah, that kind of music is what I listen to on the daily. But then at the same time, I listen to anything. If my phone is on shuffle, it could be 50 Cent one song, Taylor Swift the next, so on.
Hey,
Which yeah,
T Swift
hard,
goes hard. T Swift goes hard.
hard. Yeah, definitely. Just not when the boys are around. There's
Not don't ever control the aux when you're on shuffle, eh?
yeah, hard. Had to make sure the cues, on. No, I'll change that song. Make sure that doesn't play.
Tell you, that's the funniest thing. I know all the lads have their own secret playlist where they just play
Hard.
when it's just with themselves. Eh?
Yeah, definitely. G I think this one time I was playing I made sure all of my extra airs music was playing, and then this K-pop came up, and because I heard the K-pop song from I got it from my older brother, and then the boys were like, "The hell, G?" And I was like, "Oh, nah, my brother was playing the song."
Oh, what the throw the brother under the bus.
I was like, "Oh, nah, my brother saved it," and then my friends on shuffle. They're like, "Oh, fuck. Okay, just change the song." And I was like, "Yeah, hard."
Hey,
Yeah.
there's always times when I'll forget to do that, and it would be like an opera song or something. It's like
Yeah, jihad. Yeah, but like I, I'm not even being cocky, but everyone tells me that oh your songs, you remind me of Drake, but I think that's just because like I just always listen to them like daily, so their musical influence is always going to be there, and like I really can't do anything about it just because I like his music that much,
No,
which I think is why
it's definitely your own
that
spin,
came
bro.
out.
Definitely your own spin. So, you know, where do you see the music thing going, and where do you hope for it to go in the future?
Oh, like bro, definitely like the main goal is to be like music to be 9 to 5. You know, like that's no doubt that's the main goal. Well, in terms of like the near future, I wanna like before COVID hit, I wanted to do at least like one live show, like even if it's just like opening. But I'm not sure how that's going at the moment, just cause. But yeah, it was in terms of like the end goal was definitely to have it be something that I do every day, and get paid for it, because it won't be classified as work. Like I actually like doing this stuff, but yeah, I want to like do at least one show, even if it's like opening for someone, because I definitely got enough music to do a show. Like like in terms of stuff that's out there, but I want to like explore like other genres as well in the near future, hopefully.
No, I love that, Usha.
Yeah, hard.
Something that I gained big strength from is knowing my parents' story. Like you said, they left the island, they come here to a foreign land, they learn English, they get jobs, set themselves up financially, get a house, and all those things. Now we are left with so much more than that, eh? We're not learning a foreign language. We've learned English. We've set ourselves up here. So anything is possible, man. Like, and so like seeing you, I see the projection being so much um up there. To be honest.
Hard. Nah, that means a lot, and yeah, I know for a fact that, bro, like what, uh, like now having a daughter now, definitely I'd be like, oh, I'd drop anything to make sure that she was accounted for. So seeing that my parents did that for me, it's just it helps me give child like anything I do really. So, bro, like it's because if I didn't, or if my parents didn't move to New Zealand, who knows, I could have just been inside like working on a plantation or something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't have met my partner, and I wouldn't have had my daughter, like stuff like that. I think about, right? It's like this wouldn't have been possible without them, which had to help me heaps.
100%, man. Shout out to your partner for holding the household down. I can only imagine
Hard.
just seeing my mother do the things that she does. So I can only imagine what she's doing for you and your household. Shout out
Yeah,
to her, and
definitely.
not for only being the mother, but for being your partner and supporting you, man. That's a big thing,
Yeah,
is
hard,
having
yeah.
having that support system within your crew and your family.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with music, like she always listens to my stuff. Gets to the point where I tell her to like change it. So getting sick of this. Like and like yeah, in terms of music, she supports me like 100%. Like I tell her that I need to record, and then she takes baby into a different room and looks after her. Like even like little stuff like that. She knows that I need a silent, like room and to record, little stuff like that. I'm grateful for. But she always pulls up the fact that I still never sang in front of her. I'm just like, yeah, you only ever hear me sing to my daughter. Like, but yeah, like she's definitely like held it down, like hard. But yeah, shout out to her.
Nah,
Shout out. Oh, I don't even know if it comes up, but that's her name on the on the screen. I'm even using her laptop.
No, shout out to
Yeah.
your partner also. I love that for you that you have that support system with you, and that motivation. You know, it's a big thing. So before we finish, what is something that you feel our people are misunderstood about, or a misconception about Polynesians?
Bro. That we're violent people. That we're expected to that we should be happy and content with working in a factory. That all we do is play rugby, or do sport or some stuff like that. Bro, there's so much, like, especially in town now, like, I see heaps of stuff that I'm like, bro, I lived in the hut 21 years of my life, 22. I never had any trouble with the cops. I've only been living in town for at the time, I'd only lived in town for like a month and a bit, and I had already been like pulled up by cops. Like, and I know it was like, I didn't even want to get into it, but like it was legit because of my skin color. But like our people, bro, like our people are more than factory workers and like drillers. Like, people are tough, but I don't want people to think that all we do is literally like be street kids and that. Like our people are so much more than that. Like our people are smart, bro. Even though like a majority of the kids that do drop out or that do like work class and stuff like that are like our people, but I know we're way better than that too. Like, and I hope that's something that our people realize soon. I'm sick of all the stereotypes and stuff. Like, bro, just because I'm like tatted up, I got like my sleeve and the tats on my calf and my hair. I have long hair. Doesn't I'm not. I don't want to stay in this bubble of you're a trade worker just because or you don't belong in this place because you look like this. But I'm sick of that, like, honestly. Like, I know I get it. Like, but even like there's been times I go to a shop with my missus and I'll be like, the shop owner will look at me like, oh, are you with this person? Or say, like, of course. Like, bro, I'm sick of stuff like that, bro. I want to see how people like get up there. Like that's why, like, that's legit the reason why. Like, that's why I'm tatted up, and that's why I got 685 on my leg, and that's why I got the salmon crest on my leg. I want people to know that that's where I'm from, like hard. And soon enough, I'm gonna get like lower heart on my leg and 183 on like somewhere in my body. Like, I represent where I'm from. Because we've faced all of that all of our life, like literally stuff that I'm sick of seeing how people like get put down or just being like held to this like this bottom level of society. Like, no one's stopping us, literally. Like, if you want to go do it hard, go do 100%, bro. Look at the Rock, literally. He had like, I had some story like he had $7 in his pocket at one point of his life. And now look at him. Like, there's nothing stopping like our people. That's what I believe that I want. Even though like the beefs and stuff that you see on the net with like all the areas and stuff beefing, like you look at it and it's like our own people that they're beefing with. It's like, bro, all of us gotta be up there. Like, were there, and that's my end goal is to show everyone, like not even just Samoans, that like all the islands, bro. We have the potential to go hard, like legit, and like compete with, and to be at the top of the society. So I reckon,
No, I absolutely love that. Also, I could feel that your passion and your love for who you are and where you come from, and
yeah, hard.
like you said, there are negatives. There's how people are beefing with each other, but it's a very small percentage. It's not the percentage, or not as big as how the media portrays it. And that's why I built this
Mm.
platform. And like I put my heart on it because I know there's so much more. Like the percentage of us doing more positives is way higher than the negatives that are occurring in our communities, man.
Hard, yeah, definitely. So that's what I've always believed. Hard.
No, man. Thank you so much for helping, jumping on the platform. Also, I love hearing your story of the things that you've overcome and things that you're facing now with and your journey with music. Also, I support you. I hope that our people can support you and keep behind you because the cause that you're going through is good because you're representing. Like you said, it's a very small island, but the things that we're producing are so big, man.
Yeah, hard. You shot, shot for letting us come together. Shot for having me on, G.
No, thank
Shut
you,
up,
also.
Bruce.
So
Nah,
you have a
shut
you
up.
have a blessed journey, Uzo. God bless you and your family, and I can hear your baby crying in the background. So
Yeah, it's been crying
shout
for a
out to
while there. I was like, yes.
shout out to your daughter. Shout out to your daughter, Uzo. All the best.
Hard shot for the house. Shut up.